All right, scholars, this is your listen and respond for the week of January 13th. So the story is, I can read Batman, who is Clayface. On the paper, put your name at the top, and then put today's date. It's either the 13th or the 14th, depending on what group color you're in. So put that, it is 2020. So 14/20/20. My bad. All right, so then you're going to put your title right here. Batman, who is Clayface. Batman, who is Clayface. All right, so then now we need to preview. Readers always collect clues before they get started reading. Look at the front and back covers of the book before you start reading or listening to the story. Then fill in the chart below. So it says, I think this book will be about blank. I think this because blank. So let's see. On the front cover, I see Batman, and it looks like he's being squished by this scary-looking dude that looks kind of like a swamp. And then on the back, it says, when a man posing as Bruce Wayne causes problems at the bank, Batman knows exactly who the imposter is, but it's hard to catch a criminal who can change shape. Whoa, okay. So our answer right here is going to be, I think this because I see it on the front cover, or I read it on the back. So right here, you're going to write down what you think this story is about. And then let's see, what are we going to be looking for next? The next thing we're going to be looking for is our characters and setting. Readers know that understanding the characters and setting of a story will help them to better understand what's going on in the story. So we're going to need to list our characters, and then what do we know about them? We need to think of inner traits and outer traits. So let's go ahead and get started reading. I'm going to switch my pen out because it's starting to run out of ink. So let's see. Let's try this green one. All right, so I can read Batman, who is Clayface. Let's get started here. Oh my goodness. So there's a list of all your characters right there. Man, that's interesting. Let's see who's around in here. On a stormy afternoon, a man stepped inside the Gotham City Bank. He walked toward the front desk, leaving muddy footprints behind him. Welcome, sir, greeted a teller. How may I help you today? The man smiled. I'd like to withdraw some money, he said. $1 million, cash. The teller counted the man's money and placed it in a large bag. Then she handed him some papers. Just sign these, the teller said. The man's hands shook with anger and his eyes burned red. Don't you know who I am? He asked. Suddenly, his skin started bubbling and bulging through his suit. I'm Bruce Wayne, the man roared, fleeing with the bag of cash. Meanwhile, Batman sped through downtown Gotham in the Batmobile. The caped crusader received a phone call from his loyal butler. Someone's causing a stir at the bank, sir, said Alfred. Who? Asked the masked superhero. The butler paused for a moment. You, Master Wayne, said Alfred, knowing Batman's secret identity. All right, so I'm going to pause here because I think we have some characters that we can go ahead and write down. So right here we definitely have Batman. And I think Clayface. If you wanted, you could also put Alfred. You could change out one of these other guys and put Alfred. So what do we know about Clayface? He's pretending to be somebody who he's not. So what type of person would do that? That would be an inner trait. Type of person who would pretend to be someone they're not is like somebody who lies. So we're going to say he's a liar. And then I want you to come up with an outer trait. What's something you can see about Clayface when you look at him? What does he look like? And then I want you to do the same thing for Batman as we keep reading. I don't know if we've come across anything yet about him, but just keep it blank for now. And then as we read, if you think of anything, you can go ahead and come back and add it in here. All right, now we need to find the setting of the story. Remember, the setting of the story is where the story is happening, where it takes place. So the setting of this story is at blank. I want you to fill this blank in and tell me where the story is. The next thing we're going to do is make a prediction. So let's keep reading and see what happens next. Moments later, the Batmobile arrived at the Gotham City Bank. The Dark Knight rushed inside, but the thief was gone. Then Batman spotted the muddy footprints on the floor. This crime can be only one man's dirty work, said the world's greatest detective. Batman followed the muddy footprints back outside the bank. People crowded the rainy streets, but the trail led to only one of them. So let's pause here. I want you to make a prediction about what might happen next. So a prediction is when readers guess what might happen next in the story. So what do you think might happen next? Blank has happened in the story, so something I think might happen next is blank. So what I want you to write right here is Batman tracked the muddy footprints. All right, so now everybody should have the same thing on this line. If you don't have this, you're probably going to get this one wrong. So make sure that if you don't have a paper that has this filled in, you're copying it down. Let me spell it for you. Batman, B-A-T-M-A-N, tracked, T-R-A-C-K-E-D, the, T-H-E, muddy, M-U-D-D-Y, footprints, F-O-O-T-P-R-I-N-T-S. So Batman tracked the muddy footprints has happened in the story. So something I think might happen next is, what do you think might happen next in the story after he tracked those footprints? Go ahead and fill that in right here, and then go ahead and jump back in the story and see if your prediction was correct. Batman didn't know the man's face. However, the Dark Knight knew he had found his criminal. Clayface, the superhero shouted at the evil mud man. Years earlier, Matt Hagen had been a young, daring treasure hunter. While exploring an unknown cave, he discovered a mysterious pool filled with radioactive goo. The toxic jelly changed him into a powerful shapeshifter. To maintain this form, Hagen soon perfected his own toxic goo and became the villain, Clayface. Oh my goodness. So there's him finding the goo and changing shape. So what we're going to do now is let's look at our next section, and it's the visualization section. So we need to visualize. Readers always think about how this story might look in their heads. Readers make a mind movie about what they are reading and see the story in their heads. So what do you think this might look like? I'm imagining the part in the story where blank is happening. I am imagining it looks like blank. 3 things to describe this are blank, blank, and blank. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill this first page in. I'm imagining the part in the story where Clayface finds the goo. So go ahead and write that down. Clayface, C-L-A-Y-F-A-C-E, finds, F-I-N-D-S, the, T-H-E, goo, G-O-O. All right, so we have our scenario, like we know what's happening. Now I want you to think what this looks like. Right here is where you would write like a 1-word description. It looks gross, it looks cool, it looks neat. It looks disgusting. It looks messy, right? So this is where you can write that 1 word. Then down here, you're going to tell me what is something you actually see that lets you know it looks like whatever you wrote here. So, for example, I think it looks... So if I had written messy right here, one thing I could say is that there is colored slime all over his body. Ew, that's gross. So that's something I could see that lets me know something gross is happening. So you can have that example, but I need you to come up with at least 2 more of things that you can see. So a lot of you say things like, it looked cool. Well, what did you see that let you know it was cool? How do I know what cool looks like? What's cool to me may not be cool to you guys. So I want you to describe what you're seeing to let you know that that's what is going on. Another example of that is people are saying he looked scared. Okay, well, how do we know someone's scared when we look at them? What is something we might see? We might see their eyes get really big. We might see a frown on their face or like a gasp on their face. They may have like their hands in front of above in front of their teeth, like maybe they're chattering their teeth. So those are things we can see. So make sure that what you write here is something that you could see and you're describing it to me. Let's keep reading and see what happens next. Clayface fled into the crowd. "I'll need a bat's eye view to catch this crook," said Batman. The caped crusader grabbed a grapnel gun from his utility belt. He fired the gun's metal hook at a nearby building. A super strong wire attached to the hook pulled the hero high above Gotham City. Soon, Clayface's soft body weakened in the pouring rain. Soaring over the city streets, Batman followed his muddy trail to shelter in the Gotham Wax Museum. Dozens of lifelike statues filled the run-down building. Clayface could be any one of these, thought Batman. Wahahaha! An evil laugh echoed through the exhibit. Suddenly, the statue of a Spartan soldier lifted his giant spear. The villain hurled the weapon at Batman with all his might. The caped crusader expertly dodged the spear and then grabbed a batarang from his utility belt. "What goes around comes around," he said, tossing the device. Clayface quickly changed again. This time, he molded himself into the Viking warrior, Eric the Red. The Mudman blocked the batarang with a wooden shield. The Viking villain laughed. "You're no match for this blast from the past," shouted Clayface, "and soon you'll be history too." "Now prepare to walk the plank," said the Mudman, changing into the evil pirate Blackbeard. "Arr!" The villain lunged at Batman with a sharp sword. The hero flung another batarang. The small winged device zipped past the villain's hulking head. "Missed again," yelled Clayface, "but you're getting warmer." "That makes two of us," said Batman. At that moment, the batarang exploded. Wooden beams fell around Clayface and burned like a campfire. The villain's clay-like body quickly baked into a thick, stony shell. The caped crusader knocked on Clayface with his gloved fist. "Looks like you'll be doing some hard time," said the superhero, "in Arkham Asylum." A short while later, the police arrived at the Gotham Wax Museum. "That's him," said Batman, pointing to the exhibit's newest statue. "Good luck getting him to confess." Police Commissioner James Gordon shook Batman's hand. "Don't worry," he told the hero. "We'll get this crook to crack." Batman took to the skies again. "Now to clean up this money mess at the bank," said the Dark Knight. "I don't want the good name of Bruce Wayne dragged through the mud." The end. All right, so now we're at the last part of our activity. It says summarize. Readers, think about the most important parts of a book. In your own words, give me a summary of the story you just listened to. So the story, blank, and it says in parentheses, title of the story. So I know that the title needs to go on this line. So Batman, who is Clayface, goes on that line right there. Then it says talks about blank, and it has the characters. So I know I need to write my characters here. So go ahead and fill that in. Who are the characters that are the most important to the story? Then you're filling in these three blanks. We have beginning of the story, we have the middle, and then we have the end. In the beginning of the story, blank is happening. After that, blank happens. In the end of the story, blank happens. So in the beginning of the story, someone steals Bruce Wayne's money. All right, so then what happens after that? And then it happens at the end. How did they solve the problem? Okay, once you've finished all of these, you are done with your listen and respond. Make sure your name is on it, and please turn it in to me. Then you can work on, if you have any word work needed to be finished, you can work on that. If you are done with everything, you can do Lexia or IXL.